Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our 9 p.m. English News Edition. Here are the top stories. The President of the Republic attends to the 38th African Union Summit in Addis Ababa. Mahmoud Ali Youssouf have been elected chairperson of the African Union Commission at the 38th Summit today, this afternoon. And for the international news, in Middle East, Israel releases Palestinian prisoners from Offer prison. Welcome to our newsroom, ladies and gentlemen. As I mentioned on the title, African leaders have elected Mahmoud Ali Youssouf, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Djibouti, as the future president of the African Union Commission, marking a significant victory for the Republic of Djibouti. This achievement would not have been possible without the unwavering commitment and strategic vision of Djibouti's President, His Excellency Al-Hajj Ismail Gelle, who played a key role in supporting and mobilizing behind Mr. Mahmoud Ali Youssouf's candidacy. From the beginning of the campaign, President Gelle demonstrated strong leadership by mobilizing diplomatic, political, and financial resources to ensure the victory of his candidate. This support allowed Djibouti to position itself as a key player on the African stage and to realize the aspiration of having a Djiboutian at the helm of the African Union Commission. The campaign, marked by national enthusiasm, brought together all of Djibouti's vital forces, united around common goal of electing Mr. Mahmoud Ali Youssouf. President Gelle was able to rally not only the Djiboutian people but also convince other African heads of state of the strategic importance of this choice for the future of the African Union. His leadership and determination were essential in carrying out this mission, further strengthening Djibouti's role in continental affairs. This victory is not only an honor for Djibouti but also an opportunity for the entire African continent to benefit from Mahmoud Ali Youssouf's competence and experience at the presidency of the African Union. Through this vision and steadfast support, President Gelle has paved the way for this historic breakthrough, underscoring the importance of diplomacy and visionary leadership in achieving both national and continental ambitions. The Djiboutian Prime Minister, His Excellency Abdelkader Kamel Mohamed, delivered a speech in which he warmly congratulated President Ismail Omar Gelle, the First Lady, Mrs. Khadra Mohamed Haid, and Mr. Mahmoud Ali Youssouf for their key role in the latter's election as President of the African Union Commission. He emphasized President Gelle's determination, who led with clear vision and strong mobilization while providing the necessary resources for the campaign. The Prime Minister also thanked the Djiboutian people whose commitment and solidarity were essential in achieving this historic victory. He highlighted the importance of this victory not only for Djibouti but also for the entire African continent, marking a significant turning point in African leadership. Finally, he announced that President Gelle would speak the following day to express his thanks and congratulations to the nations, reaffirming the greatness of these accomplishments for both Djibouti and Africa. I'm here with Mohammed Aden, my colleague, to discuss about this election of Mahmoud Ali Youssouf. Thank you for accepting to participate in this on the studio news at 9 p.m. Mr. Mohammed Aden, can you talk about this election, how the campaign have been conducted with the support of President Gelle, who rallied many political leaders, head of state, African leaders?
Yes, thank you, Tarek. We have done. African leaders have elected Mahmoud Ali Youssouf, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Djibouti, as the future president of the African Union Commission, marking a significant victory for the whole of Djiboutian people, for the whole of African countries, and this achievement would not have been be possible without the unwavering commitment of the head of state, the enlightened visions of the head of state, His Excellency Ismail Omar Gelle, who played a key role in supporting and mobilizing behind Mahmoud Ali Youssouf. You know, all the ministers of the government have made the trip around the whole countries of Africa to present to the the presidents of the African countries, the candidacy of Mahmoud Ali Youssouf. From the beginning of the campaign, President Gele demonstrated strong leadership by mobilizing diplomatic and political and financial resources to ensure the victory of this candidate. This support allowed Djibouti to position itself as a key player on the African scene and to realize the aspirations of having Djiboutians at the helm of the African Union Commissions. The campaign, marked by national enthusiasm, brought together all the vital forces of Djibouti, united around the common goals of electing Mahmoud Ali Youssouf, and his leadership and determinations were essential in carrying out these missions, further strengthening the Djibouti's role in the continental affairs. And this victory is not only an honor for Djibouti, but also an opportunity for the entire African continent and African youth to benefit from Mahmoud Ali Youssouf's competence and experiences at the helm of the African Union. Through his visions and steadfast support, President Gele has paved the way for this historic breakthrough, underscoring the importance of diplomacy and visionary leadership in achieving both national and continental ambitions. And we have in Djibouti seen the Prime Minister, the first person who congratulated the Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, who thanked the President of the Republic, the entire population of Djibouti, and the First Lady Khadra Mahmoud Haid for key roles in latest elections as a President of the African Union's Commission. He emphasized President Gele's determination, who led with a clear vision and a strong mobilization while providing the necessary resources for the campaign. And the Prime Minister also thanked the Djiboutian people whose commitment and solidarity were essential in achieving this historic victory. He highlighted the importance of this victory not only for Djibouti but also for the entire African continent, marking a significant turning point in African leadership. Finally, he announced that President Gele would speak the following days to express his thanks and congratulations to the nations of the African continent.
Can you talk about the campaign in Djibouti where Tajura Al Sabih, the region, have been mobilized? They organized a march to support Mahmoud Ali Youssouf's candidacy.
You know, firstly, the campaign was started by Al Sabih regions. You know, Al Sabih is a very dynamic regions and a lot of youth. After this, all the Djiboutian territories have done, like Tajura and other Djiboutians in the city of Djibouti. A lot of event has been held in the country, and you know, the magic thing that Mahmoud is he had unified all the countries in one hand, and to take this campaign as a very supported by Djibouti's positions and the key players in the African stages.
And the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, mobilized key persons. He sent the members of the government to the heads of states of the African leaders to carry out the message for supporting Mahmoud Ali Youssouf. Can you talk about this matters?
Yes, all the members of the government, all of them have done the trip over the countries, over African countries, continent, and to present the candidacy of Mahmoud Ali Youssouf's candidacy around the African continent. And this campaign, marked by national enthusiasm, like I say, brought together all the Djiboutian vital forces, united around the common goals of electing Mahmoud. President Gele was the first able to rally not only the Djiboutian people but also convince all the African head of state.
Thank you, Mohammed, and thank you for clarifying this subject for the public who is watching us. And now, as I mentioned on the title, His Excellency President Ismail Margele participated in the inaugural ceremony of the 38th Ordinary Summit of the African Union, which opened its doors on this Saturday morning in Addis Ababa, the Ethiopian capital. As is customary, the opening ceremony of this African Union Summit featured the traditional speeches and annual general reports on the progress of the continental organization. In these speeches by high-ranking officials, particular emphasis was placed on the growing number of war fronts in Africa, where a surge in violence and armed confrontation is adding to the chronic instability that has affected many countries and regions of Africa for years. However, it is mainly the wars in Sudan and in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo that were elevated to the status of absolute priorities for the Pan-African organization. Given the tremendously high human and material costs of these two crises, as well as the significant threat they pose to peace, security, and stability within their respective regions. The first part of the opening session of the 38th African Union Summit was also marked by two key events: the farewell speech of the President of the African Union Commission, Mr. Moussa Faki Mohamed, as he concludes his second and final term in office, and the formal induction of the Angolan President Joao to the rotating presidency of the Pan-African Organization. Apart from the official speeches, the inaugural ceremony of this African Union Summit adhered to the tradition of executing several formal rites, including a photo opportunity on the steps of the African Union headquarters, gathering all the heads of state and government of Africa. Following this, the head of state and government of Africa sat down for a lunch on to final step before proceeding behind closed doors to the election of the new president of the African Union Commission. And now the opening ceremony of the 38th Summit of Heads of State and Government of the African Union was marked by the handover of the African Union presidency between the President of Mauritania, Mr. Mohamed Ould, and the President of the African Union, the President of Angola, Mr. Joao, who will lead this African organization for a one-year mandate. The Mauritanian President congratulated his Angolan counterpart on his election to this position, wishing him great success in carrying out his functions and responsibility. During this African Union Summit, issues such as peace and security, trade and connectivity, institutional reforms, education, agriculture and climate change, human rights, gender and youth empowerment, as well as the election of the institutions and organizations were discussed. It is important to note that during the very speech given at the summit, the speakers called for the unification of African state actions to face security challenges. The ambassador of Comoros in Addis Ababa, who holds the esteemed position of Dean of the Ambassadors in Ethiopia, extended his heartfelt congratulations to the President of Angola. Following his election as the new chairperson of the African Union, Mr. Joao will be at the helm of this important Pan-African organization for a one-year mandate. This marks a significant moment for the African Union as it embarks on a new leadership chapter, with the President of the Angolan taking on the responsibility of steering the organization through pressing continental issues. Moussa Faki stated that over the past few years, we have faced numerous challenges, from escalating conflicts to urgent issues related to climate change, economic integration, and public health. Yet, thanks to our collective efforts, we have made significant progress in addressing these challenges. As I conclude, he said, "My second term, I live with the conviction that African Union will continue to evolve, adapting to the needs of the continent, and I am confident that the new leadership will carry forward the progress we have made together. The future of Africa is in our hands, and I am optimistic that we will continue to chart a path toward a brighter future." In Djibouti now, the tour of the Ministry of the Interior as part of the 40th day of the outreach mission with local population, a delegation led by the Minister of Interior and the Prefect of Obok visited Ondoli and then Mulhuli. This mission, part of the ongoing efforts by both civil, military, and military authorities to strengthen ties with local population, assess their needs, and provide targeted assistance. Upon arrival in Indoli, the delegation was warmly welcomed by the local population. The reception was marked by a spirit of solidarity, illustrating the residents' appreciation for the effort of the authorities to improve their living conditions. A meeting was organized between civil and military authorities and the residents. This meeting allowed for the discussion to the main challenges faced by the population, including access to drinking water, transportation and communication infrastructure, the need to improve healthcare and first aid services. Residents had the opportunity to share their concerns and immediate needs, and their immediate needs. The authorities took note of the priorities expressed by the population and agreed on measures to be implemented to address these concerns effectively. On the same day, the delegation also visited Mulhuli, where a similar welcome was reserved. Once again, a meeting was organized with the residents to discuss the specific issues that are facing, such as the management of water resources, security and training needs, the establishment of latrines for the population. Civil and military authority took note of the difficulties raised by the residents of Mulhuli and assured them of their support in implementing concrete actions. The armed forces also reaffirmed their role in ongoing humanitarian assistance and their logistical support to facilitate access to essential services. This mission helps strengthen the ties between civil and military authorities and the populations of Ondoli and Mulhuli. The discussion meeting allowed residents to share their concerns and provided the authorities with a clear understanding of the challenges to address. The armed forces, in collaboration with civil authorities, will continue to work to provide ongoing assistance and implement sustainable projects aimed at improving residents' resilience and fostering their long-term development. The outreach mission with local population in the northern region concluded with a symbolic visit to the grave of the Djiboutian martyrs who fell during the Dumera conflicts. The purpose of this visit was to honor the soldiers who sacrificed their lives in defense of their nation, reaffirming the authorities' commitment to protecting and honoring their memories. Prayers were offered in their name, emphasizing their sacrifice for the sovereignty and peace of the country. This moment of reflection was marked by speeches highlighting the importance of their sacrifice for the nation.
اللهم اغفر لهم وارحمهم وعافيهم واعف عنهم واكرم نزلهم ووسع مدخلهم واغسلهم بالماء والثلج والبرد ونهداهم اهل خير من اهله وادخلهم من جنته واعذهم من عذاب القبر. اللهم من احييته منا فحيه على الاسلام ومن توفيته فتوفاه.
And now, under the high patronage of His Excellency Mr. Mustafa Mohamed Mahmoud, Menfop, the Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, the Committee for the Development of Mulud inaugurated the second edition of the football tournament for the high schools of the sub-prefecture and localities of the south. The event gathered an enthusiastic crowd and of nearly 150 students from the high schools of Ali Adde, Holhol, Mulud, Asaila, Yoboki, as well as from the localities of Sankal and Gubeto. This tournament will take place from February February 13 to 15, 2025 in Mulud. On this occasion, His Excellency Mustafa Mohammed Mahmoud was welcomed with a festive atmosphere featuring traditional dances and music, accompanied by the President of the Mulud Development Committee, Mr. Mahmoud Roble Dabbar, as well as the Prefect of Dikhil, members of Parliament, and sub-prefects from the localities of Ali Sabih and Dikhil. The launch was also marked by the planting of trees, symbolizing the commitment to the environment, for which the Mulutsa Prefecture is a model in the region. The minister then attended an impressive parade of students from the seventh high schools before kicking off the opening match between the Ali Adde High School and Asaila High School. In his speech, Mr. Mahmoud Roble Dabbar, President of the Bulu Development, thanked on behalf of the Minister the national operators for their logistical support, including the SGTD ports, DMP, and the Ethio-Djibouti Railway. In his speech, His Excellency Mustafa Mohammed Mahmoud warmly congratulated the population of Mulud and the Mulud Development Association for their role in organizing this event, which strengthened the values of brotherhood and solidarity through football. A ceremony for the handover of the keys to the homes provided by the EOG Foundation to 39 CNSS employees took place this morning at the CNSS headquarters. The event was sponsored by the Ministry of Labor, His Excellency Omar Abdi Saeed, and attended by the Acting Director of CNSS, Abdul Qadir Dini, as well as the Director General of the EOG Foundation, Mahmoud Ali Usman. The ceremony was held in a large hall where the 39 recipients of the house keys were primarily security guards, surface technicians, or housekeepers. These employees, considered the most vulnerable by the management, were relieved of the burden of rent by offering them the opportunity to acquire homes through the EOG Foundation. The ceremony began with the recitation of the Holy Quran, followed by a series of speech. First, the Director General of the EOG Housing Foundation congratulated the CNSS for this initiative. And now the acting general manager indicated that CNSS, the acquisition of these homes stems from an agreement between the CNSS and the IOG Housing Foundation. CNSS financed the construction of 150 homes within the IOG Housing Foundation, and the foundation has handed over the keys of 39 homes to CNSS so that they can offer them to employees who earn salaries of approximately 40 to 50,000 Djiboutian francs. And the Minister of Labor, His Excellency Omar Abdi Said, congratulated the CNSS for this initiative, emphasizing the importance of providing stable housing for employees, particularly those in vulnerable position. He praised the partnership between the CNSS and the IOG Housing Foundation for making this project a reality. And now for the international news, as I mentioned, this summary details the ongoing prisoners exchange between Israel and the Palestinians as part of a ceasefire agreement. The sixth phase, which took place this Saturday, saw Israel release 36 Palestinian prisoners sentenced to life and 333 others arrested from October 7th in Gaza. In return, the Hamas organization handed over 3 Israeli prisoners to the International Red Cross as part of this phase of the agreement. A convoy from the Red Cross departed from Khan Yunis carrying the Israeli-Russian Sasha as part of the border ceasefire agreement that began on January 19. The sixth phase of the prisoners exchange, which also includes the release of 32 prisoners from Gaza in exchange for 1,900 Palestinian prisoners held in Israel jails, will continue until early March. This is it for this 9 p.m. English News Edition. Thank you for watching us. Stay tuned for more on RTD.